All right, everybody, it's Dave from the Working Fans Podcast. We are here with Outcast Revolution tonight for Flowers Given, and I have with me the Asgardian Beast, Cade Lothbrok, excuse me, don't beat me up. Pleasure to have you on, man. And I guess we're going to start off right away with what got you into wrestling?
I think like everybody else, man, I grew up a fan, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember when it came into my life. I just remember it's always been part of my life. Anyone else, you know?
Yeah. And then where did you start training?
I trained at NYWC under ECW legend Mikey Whipwreck.
Nice.
Got that pedigree with me. And then I trained with another guy at the school named Crusher Dugan, who was trained by Dean Malenko and Malenko's father, Boris Malenko, and his brother, Joe. So I've been fortunate to have some pretty good trainers.
That is some great pedigrees. You know, we've had guests on the show before like Bob Cook and Barry Horowitz, and all those guys trained under the Malenkos.
Yeah. So he went down to Florida, and then I was fortunate to do a couple clinics and one-on-ones with Dean himself. So I've been fortunate when I started 20 years ago to have, you know, some really good people in my corner to help me out and grow and stuff.
Now, 20 years in the business, what would you say were some of the bigger obstacles for you?
When I started, I mean, I was always an amateur wrestler and stuff like that, so learning those ropes. But the biggest obstacle for me, I don't really have a filter. I don't really think before I speak, and I'm very stubborn and pig-headed, and so like learning to kind of bite my tongue at times. And also, the biggest hurdle for me was dropping weight and actually getting in shape. When I started, I was probably around what I am now, which is like 250. But I ballooned up I was probably pushing like 405 at one, and that definitely hindered a good part of my career and a lot of health issues. But honestly, if I just probably got in the gym when I was younger, as I should have been, and not being a typical 20-year-old thinking I knew everything, maybe I'd be in a different place. But you know, it's all happens for a reason.
I will say this as a fan watching you wrestle earlier. One thing, and I know you said you trained with the Malenkos, footwork. You know, seems like you had good footwork out there. Has that always been something?
I mean, that's Mikey really instilled that in us in the beginning.
Okay.
I mean, like that was when I came up. It's a lot different now. I mean, and then I always heard that when guys were older than me were like, it's so different when they were coming up.
Right.
I didn't get to touch a ring for about 3.5 months. It was just stuff on the floor, footwork, basic chain. And then it was a privilege to get in the ring and to touch the ring. It was very much still that, I wouldn't say kayfabe era, but it was like everyone knew what it was, but there was still much of that back then. I came up at a time where like if you got beat up, it wasn't because they were bullying you. It was because basically they wanted people to stick around, but they wanted to make sure the people that did stick around had a love and appreciation of this business and what it means. Now it's different. We live in a different time. It's a different era. You can't do some of the things we did back then, even though maybe some of those things, in my opinion, might be a little bit good because, again, this isn't ballet. You know, you're putting yourself and someone else at risk. So you got to understand the risks.
Importance. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One thing I'm curious about too, with, you know, such a pedigree in that, you know, training, Whipwrecks, you know, the Malenkos, what have been some of your, you know, favorite moments in pro wrestling? Almost like in the beginning, that could be some of your favorite moments.
I mean, my second match was teaming with Mikey.
Yeah.
Which literally I had my first match and I won my first match against another student. And that match came about because we were just messing around in the ring and we did a spot and Mikey watched it and he was like, do it again. And we did it again. And he's like, now you're going to do it on the show in 2 weeks. And we were like, what? And then we wrestled and we had I'm assuming the match probably sucked because it's, you know, your first match. And then he came up to us and he's like, you guys have fun? We're like, of course. He's like, all right, good. You're going to do it next month, but I'm teaming with you and you're teaming with him. And we are, you know, our drawers are on the floor. I've been fortunate. You know, I've gotten to wrestle a lot of people that I looked up to or idolized or share locker rooms with them. And it's always a hard question. People are like, you know, what's a one moment or this? It's so hard because I've been so lucky. Like when I started traveling outside of my home promotion, Eddie Kingston took me under his wing and I got to ride with Eddie and learn from Eddie. Homicide helped me, Danny Moff. Like I've been fortunate to have guys that took some, you know, fat, chubby kid from Long Island and really give him a lesson in wrestling. So, you know, I've worked Eddie Kingston numerous times. I mean, Tommy Dreamer's taken me under his wing. I've gotten to do stuff for AEW. I've gotten to go to Mexico and Trinidad. And it's so hard. I'm just having fun, honestly. Like, it's hard to pick one thing.
Yeah.
Anytime I've gotten to work Mikey, it's always been fun. That's like, you know, that's my wrestle dad. So.
Now, I guess one question we like to ask, and it's going to be hard to pinpoint this down to one thing too, is, you know, what's the best advice you've gotten in pro wrestling? It's probably been a bunch.
Honestly, it was the very first thing Mikey said to all of us was keep your mouth shut and keep your ears and eyes open. That was it. Just
simple.
Learn, observe, absorb, but know your place and know, you know, and it's helped me throughout my career going into like, you know, I've done a lot of deathmatch wrestling and, you know, you watch and you learn and then you're like, okay, now I know where I can pick and choose to say stuff and stuff like that.
It almost sounds like a great life lesson in general too.
Yeah. I mean, it's anything, you know, I mean, I didn't have the best childhood coming up. So like, you know, I really did grow up in wrestling. I started when I was 17, but like having Mikey and those guys kind of like my father figures and brothers, it really like probably wasn't the best environment at times,
Yeah.
but it did help me grow up. And a lot of the things that I learned in wrestling, I do apply to my life and my son now. So.
Awesome. And we're here, like I said, with Outcast Wrestling Revolution tonight. What's it like working for them?
I actually knew Cindy before she started in the business. She was, I guess, a fan of mine. She came and saw a bunch of death matches that I'd done and just hit me up on Facebook. We just started talking, and then I did a show in Connecticut as a surprise for her. The promoter booked me, and it was like I guess it was like a birthday surprise for her. And then, just being friends, and she told me she was running. I told her, don't do it. And so anytime she needs me, she knows I'm here for her. But it's fun. I'm glad. I mean, I was at I guess when they were originally doing it at the small bar, a very tiny ring, and then to see their first show that they did at some other spot. I think it's in Gales Ferry, but it's in another area. See what they're doing now. I mean, it's just slowly growing. So I'm very happy for both her and me.
That's awesome. 20 years. So I guess what are your goals right now?
Yeah, I'm fortunate. I actually was talking to one of the guys today. I don't really have goals anymore. I'm just having fun.
Right.
I'm married for 3 years. I have my own business. I have a little bit of money in a gym. I'm just enjoying wrestling. And like I told him, I said, when I kind of stopped, which is about 5 years ago, like, I need to make it. I got to do extra work for AEW and TNA and a bunch of things just kind of happened. But I'm just having fun. I mean, like, I have guys I want to wrestle. Trevor Murdoch's at the top of my list.
Yeah.
But I'm just having fun. Like, I just enjoy this. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be talking. I'd be sitting at home with my dogs and my wife and my kid. So
Yeah. Well, hey, do you have any questions before I asked her?
Maybe just how is it the balance between wrestling and you own a business?
Yeah.
So how is it balancing business and wrestling?
I'm fortunate because I get to pick and choose my hours and stuff. I work. I own a pest control and wildlife control company. Nice. So we're stationed at Long Island, but I personally work at our veterans hospital that we have the contract with. So I'm kind of free to Monday to Friday, but it's also good because I do leave on a Friday and I won't come home until like a Monday morning, so I can kind of make my own schedule. So that freedom's great. And it's nice because then I can go away and cut myself up and bleed, and I don't need to come into work tomorrow and somebody's looking at me going like, what is that? Because for the longest time I was traveling doing death matches, and I would go into work or whatever I was doing, cuts and scrapes, and people, my boss or my manager would be like, what happened? And you have to make up some excuse like, I was helping my buddy build a shed and I fell, or nobody believes it. They look at you like you're a psycho. So now I don't have to answer. I just have to answer to the wife. So that's about it. So I'm good on that.
Kate, is there anything else you want to promote coming up or anything? Social media?
Yeah, next week, next Sunday, I'm in Jersey for a company called American Championship Entertainment. And the 28th, I'm in Binghamton for Excite Wrestling. And then the 29th, we're doing a show for one of my trainers who passed away 5 years ago, which is like a huge show to me. It's my first time doing it. And then social media is Kate Lothbrok on Instagram and Kate Lothbrok on YouTube. I don't have a Facebook or Twitter or Snap. I'm old, so I'd have MySpace if it was still around.
I love it. No nonsense guy.
Exactly. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much, guys.